One of the most notable things that are wrong with it, it has no wheels. It's currently on a set of stock trucks. That's not what it's going to run on if we ever get it running again. This is engine number 6. It's the electronics company number 6. It's a Shay locomotive, which is very rare nowadays. Basically what these do, instead of having the standard driving wheels like most steam engines, it has vertical driving wheels, which basically sacrifices speed for power, pulling power, and handling on hills. These are mostly used for logging, and this one specifically was used for a logging company that had both standard and narrow gauge equipment. Funny story about it, it was actually, they used to run on flatbeds on the standard gauge line, and then run onto the narrow gauge line, and just run off of that. It was an interesting operation, from what I've heard. This we got was donated to us by, was ran here by a narrow gauge historian who was also a dentist. Back then, steam engines were a lot cheaper. He bought this for $2,500. If we can run this for $2,500, slow locomotive, it has a good acceleration. It can go from 0 to 12 in about 5 seconds, in about 1 second, and that's about it. So right behind it is another 55-ton locomotive like 45. It's engine number 39, also built by the U.S. Steel Company, also built by General Electric and ran for the U.S. Steel Company in Pittsburgh. Interesting about this one, it is remote control capable, which is basically used for running trains where it was too dangerous for people to go, like the hot steel works, and they run the train and then with no one in it, and they run it back out and get what they need. That engine ran here since 2006 and went out of service then. Basically, we used some parts to keep the 45 running. Right over here is Pinecreek server number 1. It was used by the Hall Factory Company in Pennsylvania. Can you please not step on the rails? Thank you. It was used by the Hall Factory Company in Pennsylvania. And it's built by the same company, the Plymouth Company, which built those 2 Grugello and Crew engines, and this well as that black engine was pulling that small freight train. Basically, a lot of Plymouth engines survived. This is a 15-tonner, which is one of the bigger types of engines. These mostly focus on 5-tonners. If we ever got this train running again, we have to reinstall air brakes to it because we need air brakes in order to operate in the state of New Jersey. We also painted in our own logo, which is the only engine that we ever did that with.
Question.
Yeah.
What exactly is that thing right there?
Some kind of clock face. I'm not really sure where it's from, though.
Oh.
So this engine back here is engine number 26. Sussex, Suffern, and Southampton number 26, which was a line in, I believe, Virginia. It was either Virginia or West Virginia. It was the last steam engine to ever run in for this railroad. It went out of service in 2001. I actually rode behind it back when it was in service. And was also privately owned and rented to us by another operator during his operation session, but now we own it outright.
Any chance of that going to be going again?
Well, first we need to get some more diesels running because that kind of became a problem a few years ago. Then we need to work on the tracks, and then maybe we need some more cars, which basically we're going to fix that coach over there, which I'll get to soon. And then maybe we'll focus on steam engines, but after that, this one is still second or third on the list, depending on whether we choose to go. First one on the list is 46, which is in the carbon. We already got that taken apart, might as well finish it. And depending on what we choose to do, we'll either go after this one next or this one next. But that all requires a lot of money, and right now we just don't have the money, so that whole thing happening right now is improbable anytime soon. Of course, that requires money. Might happen sometime in the future. Anyway, this switcher right here is a B10 locomotive. I'm unsure who built it. It actually ran when we got here, believe it or not. It was like that. But then someone left something over it and now it's open. And we're trying to find a replacement, but right now it's not happening. Anyway, this engine ran in Hampton for industrial switching purposes. So right here is a Brooksville company. Brooksville was the second biggest narrow gauge diesel build there next to Plymouth, and second most survivors. This one was originally 4-foot gauge, and some people had some crazy idea. Oh, let's make it 3-foot gauge. They started taking it apart and then realized, wait, we don't know what we're doing. So that was the end of that. Now it sits on a flatbed, and we've been discussing with another railroad who has some 3-foot equipment, and they run 4-foot equipment to maybe do a train. Right now, we have bigger things to worry about, so it's kind of over the table. Right now, over here is engine number 3, the Lady Edith. It's actually an Irish tank engine. How it ended up here, I have no idea.
Somebody got drunk and
Yeah, maybe. I have no idea how this thing ended up in New Jersey. It became part of Canadian National. Was originally 4-foot gauge, and we brought it here, and then we left it outside and roof flat. So that's not good. That's why the tarp opened. This one is a big deal. We want to get it restored for several reasons. There has been some concerns about the safety of the how long 502 is going to last before it's a problem, and we want to get a second coach in too, because that will open up a lot more passenger service and a lot more we can do with that. We're actually organizing a deal with the South Carolina Museum of Transportation, or might be North Carolina, I'm not exactly sure. But they're going to restore this car in exchange for giving that snowplow you saw out there that's half melted. So pretty good exchange. The snowplow standard gauge, so we really don't need it. And hopefully that will happen soon and we can get this car running again. Okay. So right through here, I forgot, is actually our next big restoration project that we're going to spend money on. That's a General Electric locomotive built for the Pinecreek Tie Company in Missouri. And another 25-ton locomotive similar to 51. We want to get it to give 51 a backup, because 2 years ago we had a problem where both engines went out in a period of about 6 months, and we were out of service for about 2 weeks, which isn't really that bad, but at the same time, something we want to avoid happening. So we're going to restore this engine pretty soon. We're saving up the money for it. And when that happens, we'll get it running again. We're actually going to use during the older days of railroading and have become less common now that people usually fly planes long distance. This is part of the Irish train. This one right here is from the still operating today Eastport Top Railroad, which is actually now another restoration, another steam preservation site. The car behind it is a Pennsylvania Railroad office car. All these cars are basically passenger cars, but they're rented out to employees and other members of the company to basically travel lines or whatever. One of the earlier ones for the Pennsylvania Railroad, it's most standard gauge. We put narrow gauge trucks on it, then we found out we can't run it because the turns are too tight here. If this was just a straight line, we could have run it, but that's not the case. The inside is actually pretty well preserved. There's a sink in a kitchen area, as well as some seating and whatnot. And hopefully I'd like to see that restored as some sort of stag display, a walkthrough exhibit maybe, but right now it's kind of taking second seat to a lot of more important projects.
Maybe someday the tracks will be expanded. But
yeah, I'd like to see that, some expansion to the tracks, definitely. Maybe through the village or whatnot. Who knows?
I think once I heard that there was going to be a plan to run like this between here and Great Adventure.